listening to Proof Text, a Glossa House podcast by Dr. T. Michael W. Halcomb, Dr. Frederick J. Long, Dr. Mario Melendez, Dr. Jennifer Noonan, and J. M. Smith. Welcome and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to Proof Text. I'm Michael Halcomb, and I am here with J. M. Smith, the sensei of the Disciple Dojo, and Proof Text team member. We have, at present, at the time of recording, 5 Proof Text team members, and so you're looking at 2 of them. We have Jennifer Noonan, Fred Long, and Mario Melendez, and hopefully we'll continue growing that a little bit more as time moves on. So, yeah, it's good to see you, JM. Always fun to do these.
My pleasure,
10
man.
questions.
I love it.
Yeah, 10 questions episodes. And more often than not, when we do these, I end up seeing the passage differently than I've heard it or, thought about it when I've heard it in the past. So probably every episode so far, I've walked away thinking I've never thought about it that way or from that angle. So it's beneficial to do this sort of thing. And I do it weekly on my own as I'm preparing for my sermons. But I think we're meant to study the text in community and with others. So it's a great benefit to that. Yeah. Well, this episode we're looking at the Old Testament, and I'm gonna spring a passage here on JM. Doesn't know what's coming. Neither do you. But if you're watching, here it is. Boom, Psalm 91:11. And maybe you've heard this before, but it says, this is the NIV, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." Yeah, so there's that. Yeah. What's the, JM, before we jump into this, we did an episode some time ago, and it said something to the effect of, she will be guarded in all her ways or something. Do you remember that?
Was it this about the city will not fall?
Yeah, it was about the city or the river or something like that, but life will spring up in her or something to that effect, which is funny because I just saw a church host. They brought an intern on recently, and then they gave her some gifts, and there it was engraved into a plaque. She will live all her days, or be guarded all her days, or life will be in her all her days, or something like that. And I just had to do the face palm because, dude, yeah, it has nothing to do with that, and I wouldn't have known it had we not been doing these videos.
Now I got to go back and look at which episode, because I do remember having that discussion, because we talked about how it's popular among like women's ministries or stuff, like it's immediately read as talking about a particular woman instead of collectively the people or city or river or something.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right. I can't remember what verse that was, but I'm certain we've discussed that. So, but again, I saw it and I did the Psalm 46:5. God is in the midst of her; she should not be moved.
That's okay. Yep. That's what it was.
Will not fail is a lot of the translation. Psalm 46:5. God is within her; she will not fail. And yeah, I wouldn't have known better had I not been doing these episodes with you. So. Yeah. Anyways, Psalm 91:11. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard all your ways. You're up first on the questions for this. So what are you thinking?
So this question is just kind of out of left field, but why is this Psalm 91 in the Hebrew text and Psalm 90 in the Septuagint? Where did the numbering get off? And because the reason I ask, not just out of curiosity, but because of how the Psalms are grouped, sometimes if Psalms are combined, then they read differently versus if they're split up. And then the books of the Psalms, like where they begin and where they end, the 5 books. And so I would just, that popped into my head first off is, why does this, where did this get off track with the Septuagint in Psalm? So not really specific to this verse, but just a interesting question, at least to me.
Yeah. All right. So what does this mean? He will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. Concerned with what? And like what are concerning what? I know it says concerning you, but like how concerning you? Like why does he need to command angels? I guess I have even a question prior to this one, but that'll be my first question. Concerning you, how? Concerning what? Why? Yeah, that's my first question.
My second question then, I'll pick right up on that, because that concerning is how they're translating laka, lak in Hebrew, that which is literally for you or to you. So in Hebrew, ki malakal. So for his angels, he will command to you or for you. And so NIV is making that as concerning you. King James has just said he will give his angels charge over you. So there's some, I mean, it's all kind of the same idea in English, sort of, but it's how much interpretive weight can we put on that Hebrew preposition la that's in the lock there.
My second question would be, who is doing? I'm assuming it's God. Yeah, so I'm assuming it's God, and if that's the case, like, is it? I guess my question is this: Is God commanding his angels here, or is this some other figure commanding messengers? I'm every time I see that malak or angelu in Greek, my first sort of thing is, are we talking about celestial beings here or human messengers? So who's commanding and who are the angels and or messengers?
Will, you just stole my question because of the word malak. But I'm looking at the how the NIV renders it. So he will guard. So to guard you, lishmaka, bakol derkeka. So he will guard you in all your, and then Derek is the word for road or way or even journey. So is this, he will guard you in all your ways, or he will guard upon all your paths, or upon every journey, like all of your journeys or whatever. So how generic are we to take Derek in this passage? Because it has such a wide range in Hebrew. How generic is this? Is this an actual journey, or is this just the frequent Hebrew idiom for to walk, meaning how you live in general?
Yeah, that's a big difference, right? If this is like something meant for going on a journey or whatever versus just like all your ways, everything you do. Yeah. That's a huge difference. All right. So let's see. So here we have the command tsua, yatsue, and for he will command command concerning you to guard you. So this imagery of being a commander is kind of interesting to me. So I'm curious, is this a we meant to read this through like military lenses, or is there's something else going on with the command? We have commanding and then guarding, and you were just talking about like journeys or ways. So like I think of an army like going out during during a battle. Mm-hmm. So is this like that raised the question then, is the derrick also like a military path, and is this primarily talking about going like being guarded, going into battle or something like that? So is it a militaristic? We meant to read it through a militaristic lens.
What am I on? Number 3? Or 4?
Is it 4 or 3? I don't even remember.
It might be 4. I can't remember. I'm sitting here looking at the text. So my question is, taking into account the next verse, 91:12, reading these together, is he'll command his angels to you or for you to guard in all your ways. And then upon palms, 2 hands, they will lift you or they will bear you, lest you dash or strike or smite upon a rock or stone your foot. When you're walking like this, I mean, it lends to what you were just saying about, is this like a marching, soldier metaphor or anything? But what would you strike your? I mean, you're always going to strike your feet on a rock when you're walking in the ancient Near East, because that's everything there is dirt and rock, and the roads are full of them. And so it's like he's going to carry you with their hands. What kind of carrying? Like holding a kid over some treacherous rock, or carrying a king on a palanquin, a couch, a sedan, so that they don't even have to walk on the ground. That's what I want to know. I mean, it does come back to that derrick imagery, but is this a royal imagery of like bearing someone with royalty so that they don't even have to step on a rock? Or is this they'll carry you over treacherous passages so that you don't, fall and twist an ankle, or that's my question. What is that image in these 2 verses together? What's it talking about?
Wow. So let's assume again that it is God, and we talked about. I asked, are these celestial angels, or are they human messengers? Yeah. So I'm just curious about. Is it the angels / messengers that are doing the guarding and the lifting? Yeah, it would seem that it is. I guess I'm answering my own question here. Concerning you and guarding you in all your ways, they'll lift you up in their hands. Yeah, I guess that's a bad question because I just answered it right my own self. So let me have a crack at another one here. This one's hard. Is this used? This is used in the New Testament, right? When Jesus is being tempted by Satan in the wilderness, and maybe he takes him to somewhere else. But or does Jesus cite this Jesus is citing this in sort of a showdown with Satan. And so, am I correct about that? I feel like I am.
Satan quotes this. That's going to be, I'm going to sneak my question in. I'm sneaking my question in before you ask yours, because I don't want you to steal it, because I think it might be the same question.
Dang it.
But my question is going to be, Satan uses this for the reason that Jesus should throw himself off the temple, because he says, after all, it says he will command his angels concerning you, don't strike your foot against the rock. My question is, and then Jesus responds every time with something from Deuteronomy. But my question is, why would Satan apply this verse to getting Jesus to throw himself off the temple? Like, what connection does not making somebody stumble along a path have to do with the Messiah throwing himself off the temple? What was that an inner Jewish concept that was well known at the time, that this was a messianic verse, or or was Satan just literally doing what drives us crazy when people do, which is just quoting verses completely out of context, which wouldn't surprise me either. So that's my question, and I'm done.
Well, this is another question I have then. I was sort of going to the New Testament, but angels. Oh, Satan is depicted as an angel in Scripture, and is he then included in this, that he'll command his angels concerning you? So Satan included in this, because that would be really weird. That's my fourth question. And then my fifth question is, with Satan quoting this in the New Testament, is he attempting to sort of place himself outside the other angels? Like he is, as if he has some authority, and he's of a different kind and a different order than them, above them and outside them.
So like those are his angels, as opposed to yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, that's a challenging one. This one, yeah. Sometimes you just got to keep staring and keep reading over and over for the insight to come. Like that, the connection with the Gospel of Matthew didn't hit me until just toward the end here, right? You just got to keep reading and reading and reading, and yeah. So, well, we'll stop there, and that's interesting. Hopefully this is encouraging to you folks watching, and it's, demonstrating for you the need to approach a text with the posture of making observations and raising questions. In fact, we do a deep group, a small group in my house every Saturday night, and this is what we do. We don't have a TV in my house. We have like a projector, and we put it on the wall. And whatever the sermon text is going to be the next morning, we'll walk through that verse by verse and do exactly what we're doing here. Is ask questions, and make observations and ask questions. And then when we're kind of like through it, we'll go back and start seeing what questions the text answers for us. So you can do this if you're leading a small group, any kind of Bible study. The beautiful thing about it is that it doesn't take any prep time. You don't have to prepare a lesson or something like that. Just do it live, and you'll find that it generates some just amazing discussion. And you'll find that just like with me and JM here, that we'll start riffing off of each other, and he'll say something that makes me see something. I'll say something that makes him see something, and it's just a beautiful synergy. And it's actually doing scripture study. It's actually doing Bible study, not sort of some canned thing that has been developed by somebody else. You're doing it in your community live, and it's a beautiful thing. So
it's also,
I wrote a book on this. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, it's also thoroughly Jewish practice. I mean, this is what the rabbis did, and the Talmud is just thousands of pages recording these exact type of discussions. Why does the text say this rather than this? Well, Rabbi so-and-so says it's because of, and it's given me an appreciation for, not for the conclusions, not to the answers that the rabbis put forth, because sometimes the answers I just don't buy them. And many other rabbis didn't at the time, which is why they argued. But it gives me, it shows me things that I would never even have thought to ask, because they know the text so well down to the letter that they spot things immediately that look out of place or that are odd or raise questions. And that's something that I only recently learned to appreciate from a Jewish friend of mine. So I would encourage Christians, just like what you said, just interrogate the text, even if you don't know the answer. Just asking the question at least gets your mind in the text.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I wrote one of my first books was on this, on approaching scripture in the context of community. And it's called People of the Book, inviting communities into biblical interpretation. So you can go grab that on Amazon. It's really inexpensive. You can get a Kindle version, but it'll walk you through a process for doing this too. So kind of cool. But well, we'll stop there, and we hope you enjoyed this. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Head over to discipledojo.org and glossahouse.com. Go to both of our YouTube pages. Lots of great stuff, and keep tuning into the podcast. Interact with us. Which verses would you like us to discuss? All right, we'll stop there. Hope that helps. Aloha.
Interested in growing your ancient language skills but not sure where to start? Glossa House can help. From illustrated readers and short stories to lexicons and grammars, Glossa House offers a variety of resources for beginning, intermediate, and experienced ancient language learners. Head to glossahouse.com today. Glossa House, language resources for the global community.